And moments ago, President Trump signing the United States, Mexico, Canada agreement at the G20 in Argentina, a symbolic ceremony with his counterparts from those nations.
The deal is a replacement of NAFTA and now faces final approval from Congress.
Let's bring in our friend, Fox and Friends weekend co-host Pete Hegseth with his reaction. He's in Simi Valley, California this morning at the Reagan Library. You see the replica of Air Force One right there. Good morning, Pete.
Good morning.
And I wonder, what say you about the fact that...
Good morning.
You know better than anyone. For months and months we heard, going back to the campaign of 2016, the president can't renegotiate NAFTA. This is a fool's errand. He's not going to get his way. And here we are with a deal that looks pretty good for America.
That's right, and he did it doing it his way. Art of the deal style, threats, pushing in, pulling back. We're going to be into the deal, we'll be out of the deal. It's the same approach we see with China. And I know we're going to talk a little bit about Putin and having a meeting there. But this G20 is all about China, all about our economic relationship there. Brian, I'm with you. I don't think we can tinker around the margins of this relationship and come home with some sort of a papered over deal that makes us feel good temporarily. I think this is about a strategic realignment with a geopolitical foe. We're in an economic Cold War with them. How we do in the next couple of months and whether we win that Cold War will determine whether or not we have a real change in relationship that is advantageous to the American worker and putting America first, which has been the lodestar for this president.
So, Pete, the way I understand it, inside China policy, they were saying, we want to see what's going to happen with the midterms with the president and see how weakened he is coming out of this, see what the American people think about this new approach to world politics, world economics. And with a more powerful Senate, by losing the House, they say he's here to stay. So they reconfigure this deal. They have unprecedented weakness, but still have great strength. That's why you could maybe call a truce on the next set of tariffs, but you got to go for complete victory on a realignment now. They'll never be as vulnerable.
No, they won't. And he's making a calculation about the 2020 election at this point, I think would be a miscalculation by this president. He's got to go pedal to the metal on a stare down with them. Yes, on tariffs, you could hold some back at some point if you need to as leverage. But now is a time for strength. And I'm reminded here in the Reagan Library, the guy who coined the phrase peace through strength, it was Barack Obama who allowed artificial islands to be built in the South China Sea and navigable international waters to be violated by the Chinese. It was Barack Obama who allowed Crimea to be seized with almost no ramifications. That weakness is where we get bad outcomes. That's why I think it's probably the right deal not to meet with Putin, although he could have met with him and stared him down as well.
Sure.
Staring down China on trade will be the legacy of this G20 and potentially the next couple of years.
Right.
Good
and
stuff,
Pete, you're going to be out there in California, right, tomorrow doing the show out there?
Yes, we've got the Reagan National Defense Forum this weekend. We're going to be hosting Fox and Friends from here. I'll be on a panel as well. A lot of it you can catch on Fox Nation.
Pete, get some sleep. I'll be here bright and early, but I'm on East Coast time, so you got to get some sleep, buddy.
I will. It's early. I will. I'm going back to bed.
All right.
See ya.
Thanks, Pete.
All right. Meanwhile, Geraldo here to react to the new trade deal and the latest on Michael Cohen as well. That's coming up next.
Plus, Steve is live down in Nashville at Kid Rock's new restaurant, and the man of the hour, Kid Rock himself. He's going to join him live. Wow, looking good, Steve.
Steve is the man of the hour.
Wow.
Look at that jacket.
Nice.
He looks cool for the first time in a long time.
An historic day here at the G20.
President Trump signing that new trade deal with Canada and Mexico.
With our signatures today, we will formally declare the intention of our three countries to replace NAFTA, a truly groundbreaking achievement.
Tijuana's mayor taking aim at the organizers of the migrant caravan.
Those are really criminals because they're dealing with lives. They're dealing with people. That's a federal crime.
President Trump slamming his former attorney, Michael Cohen, who's now pleading guilty to lying about proposed Trump project in Moscow.
Very simply, Michael Cohen is lying, and he's trying to get a reduced sentence for things that have nothing to do with me.
We have so much evidence of the FBI being engaged in a very political counterintelligence investigation.
Well, most families do one tree. You have so many trees here and so many hallways to decorate.
And this year it's a theme of American treasures.
and one of our awesome security guards comes in. He's like, I was here last night at 11 o'clock. There were these ladies here. They're on a girls' trip, and they were wondering if you were here, Ainsley. And he goes, no, she's probably sleeping. And he said, come back tomorrow. So they're here this morning. I'm coming out to see you. I can't wait to meet you. I think they're from Aiken.
In the meantime, we're going to get to see Kid Rock this hour because you just heard his music on the way in, and Steve is down there in Nashville right now at his new restaurant.
That's right.
All right, Steve Ducey is live in Nashville. At least we asked him to go there, and he's never looked cooler.
Look at that. He looks like a rock star.
Great look, Steve.
Thank you very much, Ainsley and Brian and Ed. Listen, I'm in Nashville because tonight my wife and I are going to do a book signing at Walmart in the Nashville area in the town of Franklin, 6 p.m. And then tomorrow we're going to be in Alabama and Gardendale at 3 o'clock. There's my ride. They're here. Anyway, because we're in Nashville, I got this crazy suit. How beautiful is it? It's a Manuel. It's an exclusive. I wear it very well, right? Yeah. But you know who wears it better? Ladies and gentlemen, give it up. It's Kid Rock! We've been talking about you coming on Fox and Friends for years, and today is the day. And you got a beautiful restaurant here in the heart of Nashville.
And I'm all hopped up on coffee and Bailey's. Let's go.
Wait, you have Bailey's here?
We have a little bit.
I think so as well. Now, tomorrow's a big day because you're going to be the Grand Marshal of the big parade here in Nashville, right?
Yes, sir. We're expecting a little weather, but we're still hoping we can get through it.
And who's going to be riding with you in your special car?
My beautiful granddaughter,
Yeah,
Sky, right here.
All right, how about it?
Is that not the most precious thing you've ever seen?
It is indeed. All right, so many people, Bobby, have come today to be with us. We're going to talk to you extensively about your plans because you've had a busy, crazy year. We're going to talk to folks and you in about 20 minutes. But in the meantime, so many of the people have come here today. They have driven for hours, overnight, etc., because they dream of one day being on stage, am I right, with Kid Rock? So, ladies and gentlemen, this is your dream come true. Everybody, it's Sing Along with Kid Rock. Hit it back there.
If this is Nashville in the morning,
We're in the
imagine
wrong
what Nashville is at night.
At midnight?
I thought this was the city that never sleeps. That is such a fun city.
Steve's got to take the shirt off. You got to just rock the jacket without the shirt. That's how Kid Rock does it. Maybe when it comes
right,
back.
I know.
Right? He's got like maybe a little T-shirt under there. That's it.
All right, there you go. All right, and by the way, that's a great place. I saw it right before it opened. That whole Broadway is amazing. Geraldo Rivera knows what it's like to be born free.
And, Geraldo, you didn't drink any coffee and Bailey's this morning, right?
Yep. And we'll go to the show
today. We got another rock star, Geraldo.
If that's breakfast, imagine what dinner's going to be like.
Even as you intimidated.
Hey, Geraldo. So we wanted to bring you on for, you're always on with us on Friday, and we love you to death. We wanted to also talk to you about trade, and that trade deal was just signed. How important is that for this presidency, for this administration?
Well, I think that the significance of it, Ainsley, is that here you have our businessman president renegotiating a deal and getting better terms for the United States. It is the art of the deal. This is what his expertise has always been, and to see it come to fruition, it also heartens the whole idea of these bilateral deals. Now let's deal with Japan. Now let's make a deal with an independent United Kingdom and with the EU and with our partners here in the Western Hemisphere. I think that this is the president at his best. This is the president as a businessman.
And while he deals with this, Geraldo, though, he back home has to deal with new developments in the Mueller investigation. The Wall Street Journal just had a story that crossed a moment ago that Roger Stone is being zeroed in on by Robert Mueller. Yesterday we saw a new plea deal from Michael Cohen. Where do we stand with all that?
Well, I think that Michael Cohen is really in a lot of trouble. Let's focus first on what Michael Cohen is really facing right now. He's just pled guilty to lying to Congress. What was the essence of the lie? The essence of the lie is that Trump associates were, in fact, dealing, trying to get a tower built in Moscow. At what point did those negotiations end as the president's meteoric campaign for the presidency ascended? Up until now, Michael Cohen has insisted that the dealings with Russia ended in January 2016. January 2016. Before the president's momentum began gathering. It now turns out that Michael Cohen lied and that the business dealings about the Moscow Tower lasted until June of 2016, well into the campaign, after the president had already gotten the momentum and was the clear favorite to obtain the nomination. So it makes it a little queasy in terms of when the president dropped the negotiation. Nothing illegal. January 2016.
But if that's not illegal, Geraldo.
And the others have given truthful answers to Congress. Why Michael Cohen tried to lie, whether it was to curry favor or to put the best possible spin on the president's dealings with Moscow, we don't know. But Michael Cohen now has pled guilty to lying before Congress, going with his other guilty pleas. And, you know, I've known the guy for a while. He's kind of a schmucky, schmoozy kind of guy. I'm sorry he's in a jam now, but he's facing, a pretty grim future and trying desperately to deal to get the most mitigated sentence possible.
But the way I understand it, the Trump Organization handed over millions of documents, and in it, it showed already that not only did 3 people involved, Felix Sater, the president, and Michael Cohen. There were 2 others involved with this, but it never came off. Or although you would know better than most because of your success in business, but maybe not as well as Donald Trump. But he internationally, this is what they do all the time. He had business. He was looking speculation in Bahamas, the Cayman Islands as well. He's got 18 golf courses. He's got 2 over in Scotland. He's got a hotel in Ireland. He's got a hotel in Qatar. He's got one in Turkey.
For a while, he's kind of a schmucky, schmoozy kind of guy. I'm sorry he's in a jam now, but he's facing, a pretty grim future and trying desperately to deal to get the most mitigated sentence possible.
But the way I understand it, the Trump Organization handed over millions of documents, and in it, it showed already that not only did 3 people involved, Felix Sater, the president, and Michael Cohen. There were 2 others involved with this, but it never came off. Or although you would know better than most because of your success in business, but maybe not as well as Donald Trump. But he internationally, this is what they do all the time. He had business. He was looking speculation in Bahamas, the Cayman Islands as well. He's got 18 golf courses. He's got 2 over in Scotland. He's got a hotel in Ireland. He's got a hotel in Qatar. He's got one in Turkey. All the time, people bring you deals. The question is, would the president have been better off saying, yeah, the Moscow project, something I'm working on, I might go back to if I lose. So?
The truth is always the best alternative, Brian. There's no doubt about that. But we have to stress the fact that the president is legally entitled to do business up until he assumes office with anyone he wants to. There's nothing illegal. Once again, there is a Manafort guilty plea that has nothing to do with the president of the United States. This is about Michael Cohen's problems. Michael Cohen lied. He got caught in the perjury trap, just like General Flynn lied, just like some of the others lied. It's not that they did something illegal. It's never the crime. It's the cover-up. And that's what you had in this case, Michael Cohen trying to spin this story for the minimum possible political impact.
Well, there he is, Geraldo, a successful businessman, as Brian noted. We haven't seen Rivera Tower. It might pop up in Cleveland in the days ahead. We shall see, sir.
I'm sitting in it.
Thanks, Geraldo. Have a good weekend.
Thank you, Ainsley.
All right, let's hand it over to Jillian, who has some headlines for us. Hey, Jillian.
Good morning. There's a massive group of people outside the studio, so They're all waving out there. Good morning to you guys at home as well. This is a Fox News alert. 3 people are dead, 8 others injured after a truck crashes trying to escape Border Patrol. Agents trying to pull over the truck on a California highway less than 10 miles from Mexico when the driver took off at speeds of 100 miles per hour. The truck losing control, crashing into an embankment after hitting a spike strip. The American truck driver is under arrest. Also breaking right now, a deputy U.S. Marshal is shot and killed trying to serve a warrant. The suspect, Ryan Schlesinger, shooting the officer while barricaded inside a home in Arizona.
Oh my God. Get behind the car. Hurry up. Go. Go inside.
Well, Schlesinger eventually surrendered. He was already wanted for stalking law enforcement. The name of the deputy marshal has not been released. Overnight, Vice President Mike Pence meeting the remains of 2 fallen special ops at Dover Air Force Base. The bodies of Army Captain Andrew Ross and Air Force Staff Sergeant Dylan Elchin returning to the U.S. Those American heroes, along with Army Sergeant First Class Eric Amond, killed by the Taliban in a roadside bombing. 13 U.S. service members have been killed in Afghanistan this year, 5 in this month alone. Ronna McDaniel is keeping her job as RNC chairwoman. President Trump tweeting, quote, "As RNC chair, Ronna McDaniel oversaw history-defying gains in the Senate and unprecedented fundraising strength. I have asked her to serve another term for my 2020 re-elect because there is no one better for the job." McDaniel says she's honored to serve again. So congrats to her.
All right, Jillian.
All right.
Thank you.
Keeping her job. Thank you so much, Jillian.
All right, straight ahead. President Trump just signed a new trade deal with Canada and Mexico, but this meeting with Vladimir Putin, well, that was put off his schedule. Kevin Corke is live at the G20 with details. Even without Vladimir Putin, Kevin had to go.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, is Kevin here right now?
Nope.
He's all right, but he's coming up. But Steve
Concentrate,
is live in Nashville with Kid Rock at his brand new restaurant. Steve.
That's right. Thank you very much, Ed. Is everybody having a nice time? Take a look. We've got a guest bartender back there because, after all, it is the 8 o'clock hour of Fox and Friends. Kid Rock's in the house, folks.
All right, we're back with the Fox News alert. Moments ago, President Trump signing the historic trade deal with Mexico and Canada, the USMCA.
The United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, or the USMCA, as Brian just said, will replace the NAFTA. Now,
our correspondent Kevin Corke live on the scene in Buenos Aires with what happens next. Good morning, Kevin.
Good morning, guys. The president said, you know, sometimes battles make for great friendships. And indeed, that was certainly the case as it relates to the battle over the USMCA. It has finally been signed by the leaders of the U.S., Mexico, and Canada. The president hailing that signing this morning here in beautiful Buenos Aires as a win for the American people. But not just that. This is also, he said, a victory for our neighbors to the north and to the south.
We gathered together this afternoon. We've worked hard on this agreement. It's been long and hard. We've taken a lot of barbs and a little abuse, and we got there. It's great for all of our countries. I look forward to working with members of Congress and the USMCA partners, and I have to say it's been so well reviewed, I don't expect to have very much of a problem.
Overwhelmingly, and we tried.
President talking about the idea of getting this over the finish line through congressional lawmakers. Now, earlier today, Mexico's President Peña Nieto also awarded his country's highest honor to a foreigner, the Order of the Aztec Eagle, and for Jared Kushner, the president's son-in-law, for his hard work to get this negotiation over the finish line. One other thing we took note of today was the Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's comments about the need to keep working, obviously a reference to the heavy tariffs placed on Canadian steel and aluminum. We've talked a great deal about that. Clearly, they would like that to change, but at this point, everyone seems happy that the USMCA is, in fact, signed and in the books, at least without congressional approval, but that will come later. The president seems very confident that will happen. One more thing, guys, before I let you go. A full slate of action for the president today, in addition to a bilateral with Japan's Prime Minister Abe. He also has meetings with the leaders of both India and Austria, as well as a cultural event tonight. Should make for a very interesting day here in Buenos Aires. But for now, back to you.
All right, Kevin. Thanks so much. And one of the headlines to emerge from that is using the comments of Justin Trudeau to say, I would love for the aluminum steel tariffs to be lifted. Yep. He He wants that done, so
Maybe
he made
that'll
his
happen.
mark. Meanwhile, Tijuana's mayor says he's never seen anything like this caravan before. In an exclusive interview with Griff Jenkins, who I've met.
These people are coming in violently, unrespectfully, not as a good law-abiding citizen.
So, what message does the mayor have for President Trump? Griff has the answer live in Mexico next.
And it's a yearly tradition here on Fox and Friends. Janice Dean is 350 feet up in the air. She's ready to scale down a building, all in the spirit of Santa. Janice?
Yes, and I just did it moments ago, but we're going to do it again with the GM from the Yankees, Brian Cashman. You're going to watch it. Earlier, there were tears. I was sick to my tummy. There were a few swear words. We'll make sure everything is on delay. Don't go away. It is happening. 22 stories up on Fox and Friends.
She said, look, what's your game, baby?
That's a thing that makes sense for negotiation. It's something that is very different about this current era than we saw in previous decades. What is happening in the United States is something that you're seeing happening all over the world, where people are demanding that economic trade deals aren't just in the interest of the elite power structure, but that they work for the workers in the country as well, and that people are thinking through how trade agreements aren't, they're part of a larger national policy. And so I think you're seeing that change, and some of the global leaders are from the old era and some of them are from a newer area that reflects this understanding.
So what you're saying is maybe we're so focused on the GDP and other people are saying, what about us? Don't tell me what the GDP is. I lost manufacturing. We no longer make furniture in this country. We're no longer making cars in this country. Textiles. Why are we, don't tell me about this great deal. Middle class is paying the price, and they're feeling that all around the world.
Yeah, there's no question that free trade is great for, we've known this for hundreds of years, that tariffs hurt the economy. What I found interesting about Donald Trump's approach to this and his administration's approach is they're not seeking high tariffs in perpetuity. They're seeking high tariffs to get to lower tariffs. They're seeking high tariffs to come up with better trade agreements or to deal with some of the problems. For instance, China steals intellectual property.
Pardon me, Molly. It sounds like the president is being announced along with the leaders of Canada and Mexico. Let's go into the room right now live and see
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States, the President of the United Mexican States, and the Prime Minister of Canada.
Thank you very much. We're gathered together this afternoon for a very historic occasion, the signing ceremony for a brand new trade deal, the United States-Mexico-Canada agreement. So important. I'm honored to be here with President Enrique Peña Nieto, who's become a great friend of Mexico, and Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, who has also become a great friend. This has been a battle, and battles sometimes make great friendships, so it's really terrific. With our signatures today, we will formally declare the intention of our three countries to replace NAFTA with the USMCA, a truly groundbreaking achievement, modern-day agreement. I want to thank U.S. Trade Representative Bob Lighthizer and his entire team for their tremendous effort and the efforts that they've made all throughout the last almost 2-year period. Thank you as well to Jared Kushner, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, Secretary of the Treasury Steve Mnuchin, and Director Larry Kudlow for their hard work and untiring devotion throughout the negotiation process. Peter Navarro, thank you so much for the work that you put in, and so many others. The USMCA is the largest, most significant, modern, and balanced trade agreement in history. All of our countries will benefit greatly. It is probably the largest trade deal ever made also. In the United States, the new trade pact will support high-paying manufacturing jobs and promote greater access for American exports across the range of sectors, including our farming, manufacturing, and service industries. As part of our agreement, the United States will be able to lock in our market access to Canada and Mexico and greatly expand our agricultural exports, something we've been wanting to do for many years. This is an amazing deal for our farmers and also allows them to use cutting-edge biotechnology and eliminates non-scientific barriers. Our nations have also agreed to innovate new measures to ensure fair competition and promote high wages and higher wages for U.S. and North American auto workers. The auto workers are a tremendous beneficiary. Under the USMCA, at least 75% of our automobiles' content must be manufactured in North America, and 40 to 45% of automobile content must be manufactured by North American high-wage labor in order to gain preferential access to our markets. This will help stop auto jobs from going overseas, and it will bring back auto jobs that have already left. Many, many jobs are already planning to come back. Many companies are coming back, and we're very excited about that. This landmark agreement includes intellectual property protection that will be the envy of nations all around the world. The USMCA also contains robust new provisions on digital trade and financial services and the most ambitious environmental and labor protections ever placed into a major trade agreement anywhere at any time. We have dramatically raised standards for combating unfair trade practices, confronting massive subsidies for state-owned enterprises, and currently, if you look at it, currency manipulation that hurt workers in all three of our countries. The currency manipulation from some countries is so intense, so bad, and it would hurt Mexico, Canada, and the United States badly. We've covered it very well in this agreement. These new provisions will benefit labor, technology, and development in each of our nations, leading to much greater growth and opportunity throughout our countries and across North America. In short, this is a model agreement that changes the trade landscape forever, and this is an agreement that, first and foremost, benefits working people, something of great importance to all three of us here today. President, I must say, Peña Nieto and Prime Minister Trudeau, we've worked hard on this agreement. It's been long and hard. We've taken a lot of barbs and a little abuse, and we got there. It's great for all of our countries. Thank you for your close partnership throughout this process. This new agreement will ensure a future of prosperity and innovation for Mexico, Canada, and the United States. I look forward to working with members of Congress and the USMCA partners, and I have to say it's been so well reviewed, I don't expect to have very much of a problem to ensure the complete implementation of our agreement. Enrique, I want to thank you on a personal note, and I want to wish you the very best. This will be your last day in office, so that's a very auspicious day when you can sign something so important, but we really do appreciate it. I think I can speak for Justin when I say that. We both agree he's a special man, and he's really done a good job. We appreciate it very much. Thank you. So I just want to congratulate you on ending your term in office with this incredible milestone. It is really an incredible way to end a presidency. You don't see that happen very often. I look forward to working with President-elect Lopez Obrador for many years to come, and our relationship, I know, will be a very good one. We've had great conversations, and I think we're going to have a great, great relationship. And I would now like to invite the President and the Prime Minister to say a few words, and perhaps we can start with Justin, and we appreciate it very much. Thank you. Justin, please.
Good morning. Thank you all for being here, and thank you to Presidents Trump and Peña Nieto. Donald, thank you for your words this morning. Thank you for pulling this event together. Enrique, this, as Donald said, on your last day in office, it's a wonderful pleasure to see you and to be here on this historic moment. Le nouvel accord de libre-échange nord-américain maintient la stabilité et la croissance pour l'économie canadienne. Il protège des millions d'emplois à travers le pays, renforce la classe moyenne et crée de nouvelles opportunités pour nos entreprises. C'est pour ça que je suis ici aujourd'hui. Parce que la menace économique qui posait l'incertitude entourant le processus de renégociation était sérieux et il fallait agir.
So we saw the President of the United States make his opening remarks, walk out, stand in the middle, and really salute President Nieto as his last day is today. After a 6-year term, he's term limited out. Now Justin Trudeau comes out, and he's got French-speaking Canadians as well as English-speaking Canadians, so he's repeating himself, so that's why we're jumping in. I will say this. The word is that Canada feels as though there's more things to work out at the USMCA, that there's still some details here. I'm wondering if he alludes to that.
Because the president made clear he got a good deal. He's got Kelly Craft, the U.S. ambassador to Canada. She's been working on this for all along, as well as Bob Lightsauer, the U.S. trade rep. We're now hearing Justin Trudeau. Let's go back to him.
Trade renegotiation process. Uncertainty that would have only gotten worse and more damaging had we not reached a new NAFTA. But when faced with this challenge, Canadians came together and rolled up their sleeves. Canadians from every order of government and walks of life put their country's interests first and worked hard to achieve a new, modernized agreement that will protect jobs, strengthen the middle class, and create new opportunities for businesses. Nous avons plus de travail à faire pour réduire les obstacles au commerce et encourager une croissance économique.
All right, so you can see Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister of Canada, going back and forth between
speaking
English
and French, then English.
We're waiting to have the translation for you, but in the meantime, we're talking, we've got Stuart Varney we'd like to deal in. This is a big deal for the president. His critics said all along, back to the campaign, you can't renegotiate NAFTA. It's never going to happen. And you know what? It happened.
It's another example of him doing what he said he would do. Right from the moment when he declared his presidency, his candidacy for the presidency, he said, right, NAFTA, we're going to renegotiate that, and he has. Now we have USMCA, and I think it is a Trump win. America gets a lot out of this, especially access for our farm products, dairy products in particular, in Canada. We've been pushing for that for a long time. We got it in this new deal.
Explain that. What does that mean?
Well, Canada has always protected its farmers, especially its dairy farmers. We wanted to break down that protectionism, and we did. America broke through. What we got was access, more access for our dairy farmers and other farmers into the product in Canada.
I think he's speaking English again. Let's watch.
Resilient, strong percent of Canada's total exports is secure. And that's essential for businesses, families, jobs, entrepreneurs, and hardworking people in every corner of our country. As I said, the task isn't done. There is more hard work ahead to build resilient, strong economies that support families everywhere in Canada. As I discussed with President Trump a few days ago, the recent plant closures by General Motors, which affects thousands of Canadian and American workers and their families, are a heavy blow. Make no mistake, we will stand up for our workers and fight for their families and their communities. And Donald, it's all the more reason why we need to keep working to remove the tariffs on steel and aluminum between our countries. Les tarifs sur l'acier et sur l'aluminium demeurent toujours entre nos pays. Et tant qu'ils seront en place.
So the president President Trudeau just brought up, hey, Donald, why don't we get rid of the steel and aluminum tariffs that you put on?
That's correct.
This deal is signed and it's still there. Why?
Yeah, those tariffs on steel and aluminum are still there. This agreement does not cover steel and aluminum
Why
tariffs.
not take them off?
As you heard from Prime Minister Trudeau, he wants them off. Well, that's one of the details. It's a big detail, of course, but that is going to be negotiated as this thing moves forward. Remember, it's not yet been ratified by our Congress, and it's not going to be ratified by the current Congress. We have to wait till the new Congress takes effect in January. That's when the ratification vote will be taken.
There's a Democratic House, but you have more Republican seats in the Senate.
That is correct.
Oh, it can't be ratified now in lame duck?
No, it's not going
They
to be.
chose not to.
The agenda is so crowded that they can't.
Okay, we're going to listen back in.
President of the United States, Donald Trump, Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau, distinguished members of the delegations joining us today, to both, I would like to thank you for your generous remarks. That is precisely the last day of my administration, ladies and gentlemen, members of the media. During the last day of my administration as president, I am honored to be here standing next to the leaders of two countries who are friends and partners in this signing ceremony of the new trade agreement between Mexico, the U.S., and Canada. The agreement that we will sign today expresses the shared will by our three nations to work together towards the well-being and prosperity of each one of our societies. This day is the culmination of a long process based on dialogue and negotiations that allow us to overcome differences and to conciliate our visions. Once signed, the agreement will be sent to our Congresses for its ratification. It will be then when this innovative instrument bears fruit by offering a more inclusive, firm, and modern foundation for our future exchanges. The negotiation of USMCA allowed to reaffirm the importance of economic integration in North America. For more than a quarter of a century ago, our three countries have maintained very tight trade relationships. Such trade has transformed Mexico. Today, our exchanges abroad represent more than 70% of our gross domestic product. And this has contributed to the fact that today the benefits of trade with the world are broadly valued by the Mexican society. Revamping the new trade agreement was aimed to preserve the view of an integrated North America with a firm belief that together we are stronger and more competitive. In spite of the progress that we've seen in our trade relationship in the last 2 decades, there was still a long road ahead of us to take advantage of each country's potential. The United States, Mexico, and Canada agreement gives a renewed face to the process of integration. This process achieved on the first place to modernize our trade framework. Trade agreements shall not be static. Agreements need to move along with the economy and should be according to the needs of our society. The inclusion of new provisions on e-commerce, information technologies, and trade enabling practices are now part of the agreement. In fact, 1/3 of the agreement includes topics that were not included in the current agreement. The renegotiation process of the agreement allowed our region to move into a more inclusive integration, a type of integration that listens to the demands of our societies. 24 years ago, NAFTA set a new benchmark for trade agreements back then. Today, USMCA
all right, we've been listening to the President of the United States, along with the outgoing President of Mexico and the Prime Minister of Canada, hailing this new trade deal.
It's kind of interesting that President Nieto chooses to be the guy. Because he's out. I mean, why not let the new guy take this?
Listen, if you're going to go out on a good note, right?
Well, he wants to get the credit, but it's probably not. I mean, I guess technically it's still his gig, but have the other guy there because he's got to. Yeah, he's got to.
Is Obrador going to be in favor of this? Because they still have to ratify this.
I don't know.
No, he's been dealt in through the entire negotiation.
Yeah, dealt in, but how does he approve of all the details which have yet to be worked out? Which side of the fence is he going to come down on? All of these details, like steel and aluminum tariffs, for example. I don't know where he stands on that.
I wonder why the president keeps him in place, because it was to get them to the table. He brought them to the table. Why are they still in place? Like, I don't know the president's school of thought with that.
This has been a negotiating process that's gone on for months. They've got some things settled, like auto tariffs, for example, like dairy farmers. But they wanted to get this signed before Peña Nieto, the outgoing president, actually outgoes.
The inauguration is this weekend
Get
for
it
the
done.
new president.
Right.
The inauguration is this weekend.
Yes, exactly.
So when they do sit down and discuss, they're talking trade right now, but this relationship can also help when we talk about caravan and granting asylum down in Mexico versus them coming to our country, right?
The incoming Mexican president has a huge problem on his hands because there is now a health and security crisis right at the border on the Mexican side of the border with all the caravan people arriving by the thousand in tent cities. That's a problem that Obrador has to deal with. And I don't know how he's going to deal with it.
I know how you can deal with it. You can start bolstering up your southern border. It would help both of our borders on the northern side.
Sure, that's long term.
Yeah, that could be, but that could be tomorrow. I mean, you could put some troops down there. You could throw up fences.
On the Mexico southern border you're talking about?
Who's going to do what with those caravan people who are now living in squalid conditions on the other side of the border? Is America going to ante up some money to get them to go back home or treat them? Is Mexico going to do that? Who's going to take care of this problem? I don't know at this point.
Stuart, sometimes these G20 summits can be a snoozer. Instead, we're seeing